Hello, hello, hello. It's your new day with Donna Reiners and Dr. Cami Owen, where we solve all the world's problems, or maybe just one. And maybe it's yours. In our 30 minutes, we talk about your emotions and mind and how they tie into your body and spirit. We want you to renew and restore yourself in a world that wants you crazy. And sometimes we even talk about money. Introducing your hosts, Donna Reiners and Dr. Cami Owen. Hello, hello, hello. This is Donna Reiners, and this is
Dr. Cami.
And we're so glad that you're here with us, and it is your new day, and this is the place, as you heard, where we solve all the world's problems, or maybe just one. And today, maybe it's yours, but I want to share something that I've struggled with. You know, I grew up, if you've watched any of our shows, I grew up really, not really understanding the religious world, but seeking out God. Just seeking God and finding God in different places, like walking up the railroad tracks and turning right and walking up to the little Pentecostal church, or find this other little Baptist church, or having this other church pick me up on the summers and take me to their little VBSs or whatever. The search wasn't for church. The search really was to find, who is this God? And where is this God? And when my mom introduced me to God when I was 10, it really, because it came from her, you know, this safe source for me, it solidified that seed inside of me that I wanted to know this person, this God that seemed to be the one I'm supposed to know. And at the same time, I knew this God lived inside of me. You know, it's like this dichotomy. It's like out there, but inside. And there is this adventure that awaits us all. You know, if you grow up in church, no matter whether it's the Baptist church, the Pentecostal church, the Mormon church, the Jehovah's Witness church, the Presbyterian church, the Roman Catholic church, it really doesn't matter what the Unitarian church, it doesn't really matter what church you grow up in. They have their own set of rules, their own set of ways, their own way of listening, their own way of praying. They have these do's and don'ts. They have sometimes this silent law of acceptance. If you do this, then you get this kind of thing. And the truth is, we are all on this journey to get to know who we are and to get to know the God that lives inside. And so the thing is, when you go to a church, no matter how loving, grace-filled, religious-filled, it doesn't matter. People are people. Excuse me. And we're all on this journey. And in a journey, you make mistakes. In a journey, you are supposed to be able to ask questions. But normally speaking, when it comes to those types of things, this church setting type situation, there's somebody in charge, and then there's other people in charge, then there's other people in charge, and then you're there just to listen and to basically do what you're told. And how many of you understand what that means when you grow up in a family where you got the mom, you got the dad, and the kids just say yes or no, and you know, you just jump high when they say jump, and you don't even know what you're doing because you're just obeying. Yes. But obedience is not a relationship. If I just do whatever you tell me to do without thought, which is my definition of compliance, then there's no relationship between us. There's no room for questions. There's no room for wondering. WONDERING and WANDERING. There's no room. There's no wiggle room for error. And when you live in a space inside of you where everything has to be perfect and you cannot make mistakes and you can't go outside the lines in the coloring book, then you're always walking on eggshells. And you're always wondering, am I doing this the right way? Am I going the right way? Am I doing the right thing? And I'm spending a lot of time on this this morning because I've been in a journey. You know, I didn't grow up necessarily in church. I grew up loved by my mom, but that was up for question with the rest of my family. And so that search for God was really deep inside of me. Now I know the search was from Him. This wasn't just some, oh, I want to know God. No, there was a place inside of me that says, here, come with me. We have a journey. We're going to go somewhere. I've got something for you. I want to know you. You want to know me. It was deep inside a relationship-bound situation that I didn't really make room for, but the God inside of me made room for me and for all my over the river and through the woods that I went through my whole life. And so when I really, truly made that type of commitment, the commitment part when I was around 30, you know, it's just like when you want to go to school. There's a place where you have to have a commitment, right? And sometimes it's hard to make that commitment because there's these certain requirements at school. And you wonder, can you do it? Can you not do it? Et cetera, et cetera. And then you get in the class, you're like, what? Why am I even here? What does it have to do with all the tea in China? I'm sharing this because, you know, in life, we have this journey into the one who lives inside of us. That's the real journey. But if you go to church every weekend, it looks like the journey is getting to know all the rules and regulations and getting forgiven every weekend and, you know, making sure you're available for all the community exercises that are done and all the group meetings, all those things. But really, the real journey is in here inside you. And I know I've talked a long time, and I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Cammie as well. It just there's a space inside. I want you to be free, and as free as I am, I've been in a new struggle for fresh freedom at 61 years old. A fresh struggle on who am I? A fresh struggle in identity. A fresh struggle in, oh, this is what you said. Oh, that's right. And I don't condemn myself. I've been past that kind of criticism for years and years. But I want you to know you're free to move around the cabin and make mistakes. You're free to turn left when all these people told you to turn right. And if you're quote unquote wrong, although there's no right or wrong, I know, but if you find out that was not the direction that you could have taken, guess what? That's okay because it's your journey. It's your journey. The church does not allow for journey, normally speaking. If you're a pastor watching this and you're like, well, I do, then I applaud you. But you have to admit, most churches do not allow you to make a journey. They don't allow questions. They don't allow you to ask questions, well, was hell really real? And they're like, of course it's real. Don't you read in this scripture right here? But then, of course, there's no context for that. I'm just saying, there's questions that people have. God allows these questions. But do you allow yourself to ask questions? And do you allow yourself to go outside the lines? And you grew up in a religious background.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? This unconditional love, this unconditional forgiveness, it's hard to find in a church.
Yes, that's true.
It's inside.
That's true. And you know, the questioning everything. It's funny because before we started the show and in the last few hours, I've been thinking about that, the last few days actually, about questioning everything and the permission to do that. There is zero permission in the United States right now to question anything.
True.
And if you do, you know, you're ostracized by a group, you know, or multiple groups of just no. What do you can't.
Why are you doing that? You can't do that. Just do what you're told.
Yeah, just shut up and do as you're told. And we're kind of in that society. And as soon as you have a dissenting opinion or just a I wonder opinion, you can guarantee there's somebody coming after you to pounce you. And some people can take that. We can take that, but some people can't. And it's okay if you want to just distance yourself from that, as far as the persecuting dialogue. You don't have to have a persecuting dialogue with somebody. You can have your opinion, and I can have my opinion, and in the beautiful world of forgiveness and love and all that, we can be exploring these things together and completely not agree. There's things we don't agree on, and still have love and respect and kindness for each other, and you might just actually see a perspective that you never saw before.
That's right.
And it might open something up in you. But my experience, and this is the world according to Cammie, is that people that are so fearful and will not ask questions and will not allow questions to be asked around them don't have a compass, don't have a guide, don't have anything really solid within them. That relationship that you're talking about with yourself, with your creator, all of that, they don't have that relationship. And so they being around life. What does this person say? What does this person say? Okay, I believe that. I'm going to go with that. And then this person says something over here. And it's like, ooh, that's not the
that
same.
Sounds better.
That's not the same thing. And oh my God, now I have to choose, because they can't exist in the same world. I have to be here or here, and I can't be here, which is really how we are if we go into the whole quantum physics of that, but superposition and all that. But we are that all the time, because we are actually all connected, and you are this and this at the same time. But whatever you're actually putting your energy and focus on is where you are in that moment. So, saying all that, I'm going to encourage everybody to question everything. So, questioning everything is not a popular position in this day and time. I mean, during the Socrates time, that's all he did. It's literally called the Socratic method of questioning everything. And over time, that mentality that we are the authority, we know better than you. You're not smart enough to know. Just let us tell you, because you're not smart enough to know. Don't question. We've already asked all those questions. We already found all those answers. Do not go there. Somebody that does not want you to question anything is either living in fear, or living in oppression. They don't want you to have your full sovereign self erupt and be blossoming and fulfilled. Think of a 5-year-old. Look at different parents. I've seen different parents in that mode of the 5-year-old saying, "What's this? What's this? Why is the sky green, blue? Why is the grass green?" And people are, "Oh my God, would they just stop asking questions?" That's what you're supposed to do. And it starts. They start
exploration,
beating it out of us. There's a really interesting study that happened, or experiment that happened. I forget the company, but they took they wanted to know what created a genius, and they wanted to hire and create geniuses in their company so they could be successful. So they started looking at 5-year-olds, and they had a criteria what a genius was in their mind, and what they were seeking in that kind of adult. What would a genius be? So they looked at 5-year-olds, and they took these 5-year-olds, and they analyzed them based on what genius was, and 98% of them actually qualified as geniuses.
Wow.
98%. And these are just run-of-the-mill 5-year-olds, just a big sampling of 5-year-olds. And then they followed these 5-year-olds to 8, and then 10, and then 15, and then up to adulthood. I don't recall the exact numbers, but when they got to 8, it dropped to like 80%. When they got to 10-year-olds, it dropped to maybe 50%. By the time they got to adulthood, it was less than 2%. And with the one characteristic that was so important for genius is creativity. and they looked at what was the root cause of this loss of genius. They started at 5-year-old 98% to losing 98% of their creativity. With school.
You mean prison?
Yeah, prison, school, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
That school completely just beat it right out of them, their creativity. And think of that, when you have a 5-year-old coloring and they're in the book coloring and some color like this, and why did you make the grass blue? It's supposed to be green. And why did you make the sky purple? It should be blue, and all those things that it's insidious. We I don't think that there's this nefarious thing always. There is some, but I think that boots on the ground are just doing as they were told and they were taught, and that this is the right thing to do and this is what's good for them and everything. And allowing the creativity is the one thing that will inspire your genius every day.
That's amazing.
And being creative in some way every day taps you into your genius, taps you into your connection with the God within, because that is the creator in us. The creator in us is the goal.
Co-creating.
Co-creating our world, our life, our experience, all of it. And we have that power. We just have to wake up from the slumber of doing as I'm told, doing, the Wall-E world, the movie Wall-E, where you're in front of a screen. Interestingly enough, another thing I was reading about on the blue screen on a computer. Why do we see the blue screen and the blue screen of death, when the computer starts to die? That's actually from a CIA operative back in the 40s and 50s, where they were looking at how do we control thoughts and mind and make sure the mind is only in this frequency and this wavelength. And when it is, then these things aren't possible. That was the CIA that picked that color, because that color has the most effect on submission and being able to be receptive to whatever's coming in. So you have a screen on a TV, you have a screen on now computers and cell phones. It's all blue light. It's all blue light to keep you in that frequency, that wave
compliance,
wave frequency of question nothing, just receive, and question nothing. But when you start turning that off and putting that aside and looking up, what's funny is in the world, when this whole computer crash happened a couple of days ago, I was completely oblivious to it, didn't know anything about it, because I'm not plugged into any of that. My life was just fine. I didn't have any breakdowns or any issues at all.
You weren't flying anywhere.
I wasn't flying anywhere, but I was also, the only glitch I saw the whole day was looking at labs for clients. And it's like, oh, this is down to, and it happens occasionally. This is down, but I just kept going with my life.
Yeah.
And if you stop just looking at all the information just coming in, put it down and get in connection with yourself and start questioning everything. Do I believe that because I really believe it, or do I believe it because somebody told me to believe it? And just start whittling away at little things. And I think we can do a whole show on things that we just know are right. We just know that that's the right thing. Is it? We'll have to see. But that's what I got to say about that.
I know maybe you are watching this and maybe you're afraid to question things. Mm-hmm. I grew up with my way is the highway or whatever.
Me too.
And we didn't have any choices. Mm-hmm. Like oh my goodness, it would just frustrate my daddy to all. Oh my goodness. If I couldn't understand something he told me, he would get so mad at me. And I think because he was so full of fear. Mm-hmm. And if I couldn't follow him, then it made him feel like he was doing something wrong deep inside. Not that he would ever admit that, and he never did. But again, if she talked about a place of fear, it is a place of fear, a place of loss of control.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're afraid you'll lose control. This thing about questioning everything, the reason that's okay is because you're questioning the person who lives inside of you, the God inside of you, who has solutions, who has answers. And, you know, in the church world, in the religious world, there's something called law and grace. The law was what was in place before the Christ came and brought forth the grace. And that law is what people live by. It's this is right and this is wrong, and you were judged by what was right or wrong. Mm-hmm. Are there things that are right or wrong today? Of course there are. It's wrong to go murder somebody. Come on. Mm-hmm. It's wrong to steal. It's wrong to lie. Those are just character, this straight up truth, you know. But it's okay to question inside of you. It's like, did God, am I supposed to feel this condemnation, for instance? I had that word this week for the show. There's people that have condemnation. You watch this and but you don't question it. You just allow yourself to feel it. Mm-hmm. You allow yourself to feel condemned. You allow yourself to criticize yourself. You allow yourself to always negate yourself. You allow other people to negate you. You allow other people to just put a thumb on you because you don't know how to break out of that because maybe it's comfortable to you. Mm-hmm. And when you're comfortable in abuse, you allow it. And so questioning inside of you, make a list of things that you wonder about. You know, make a list of things. Mm-hmm. Just write them out. It doesn't matter how silly you think they are. Write them out and then start pondering that question, this question, that question, like, is God real? That's a great question. Does God live inside me? That's an even greater question. You know, is what she's saying true? Am I really already forgiven? These are serious questions, but do that. Ask yourself. Ask yourself these questions. And the one who lives inside of you is going to lead you into a solution and lead you into an answer.
Yes, I agree with that. And it's okay to, one question might stumble into another question, another question. That's fine. That's totally fine. You know, like the 5-year-old, be a curious 5-year-old about everything. Is the sky really blue? I used to ask that question. How do we know the sky is blue? Because it is. Well, who made up the colors? Why do we call that blue? You know, this was me. You know, I was probably.
I bet you made your mom and dad crazy.
Probably a nightmare. But why is this? And then I was quickly shut down to shut up about that, and it's just blue and shut up about it. Okay.
It's because you don't want to lose. And from a parental standpoint, you don't. It's like there's a certain generation that grew up where you can't question because then that questioning means you're defying them.
Yes.
So that was the whole generation. I think like our kids' generation, their 30s, they aren't necessarily like that. Like at least I think Chelsea's not like that at all. She's like she allows the questions like, well, this is why, and she takes the time to answer. Go ahead.
Well, I think this generation, you know, it's why we're looking at some of these kids of like, well, why do I have to get up and go to work every day? And like, what are you, lazy? You know, and why are you not, you know, why don't you just know this, that you have to get, well, why do I have to pay rent? I had one of my daughter's friends, or one of my niece's friends, was saying, why do I have to pay rent to a landlord? Why can't it just be free? You know, and they were quickly shut down. And in our society and our system, that's the way it's set up. But it's a question, like, why? Why? Well, because this is how it's set up. Well, why is it set up that way?
Because we live in a country free to earn income versus living in a country where everything's given to you and you have no choices there at all.
Exactly. So asking the question is a good thing. And then listening to the answer, it might lead you to more questions, or you might be satisfied with that answer. That's the whole point here, is how do you feel about the answer? How do you resonate with the answer? If you're resonating with the answer, okay, cool. If you're not, then there's more questions to ask. And it's okay to ask the questions. It's okay to ask the questions about everything and things that you just know. It's okay to ask about those. And in our next show, I want to talk about some of those things that we just know are correct. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. I don't know.
That's right.
We're going to ask, like the inquirer. Inquiring minds want to know.
Do you remember that?
I do.
Oh my goodness. Oh my! I do remember. We used to, anyway. Yeah. That's a great. Those are horrible things to read, but you should check them out.
Well, there was also some truth in there.
There were.
They would bury the nonsense and the truth inside the nonsense. I think it was a form of disclosure, personally, but that's just me.
You know what? That's true. When you think about some of the conspiracy theories that have come to pass.
Yes, they were all in the National
They all started in the Inquirer.
That's true. So, was it trash or was it not? You know, and my thoughts are, if mainstream media is really dogging it, there's probably some truth there.
Probably
you should probably look at. So that's what
Awesome.
I would say. Anyway, question everything.
Yeah, question everything. And you know what? We appreciate that you tune into us. We know we're not your normal or everyday ducks, and we have a good time. And at the end of the day, we really want you to know that you're loved unconditionally, that you're forgiven unconditionally, that there's a real God who already lives inside of you before you say yes to the dress.
Yes.
And do you need to say yes to the dress? You know what? I'll just tell you this one thing. My yes to the dress was about me, not about his love for me. It's about me saying, hey, I want to have a relationship with you. Mm-hmm. That's all it was. It wasn't to get into the club. Mm-mm. It was just for me to know.
The meet and greet.
It was a meet and greet,
yes.
Yeah. And it's been a journey ever since. So anyway, we bless you and we love you. Until soon, Donna and Cammie.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining Your New Day with Donna Reiners and Dr. Cammie Owen. We look forward to seeing you next time. Remember, we solve all the world's problems, or maybe just one, and maybe it's yours. Until soon.